Boersma, and I want to welcome you here to my little YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you're here to learn all about emotional health tips that can help you win at life. Today we're talking about how our thoughts are different from our circumstances and where our emotions fit in to that picture. So the coaching model that I use as a life coach includes 5 different key components: circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. And everything of life fits into those 5 categories. It's so easy and organized, isn't it? Why is it so complicated then? Because so often we think that our feelings are coming from our circumstances. So here, I'll give you an example. You find out that your favorite pair of shoes is no longer available in your size. That's kind of a small, funny one, but let's say it's something bigger and more important, like you find out that you have been diagnosed with a chronic illness. That is a circumstance, and that circumstance often makes us feel a certain emotion. So we come home and we say to our partner or our friend or our mom, "I'm so sad because I just received this diagnosis," or "I'm so sad because I'll never have those shoes," whatever it is. But what we're missing in that statement, and why that statement isn't actually true, is that the circumstance itself of finding out that we couldn't get those shoes or finding out that we have that diagnosis is not what's making us feel sad or mad or disappointed. What's making us feel that way is our thoughts. So between our experience of the circumstance, which is neutral and has no meaning on its own, and our feeling, there's a thought. And so we have to kind of separate out what the circumstances are and what our thoughts about the circumstances are. And here's why this is so important: because our circumstances are completely out of our control. We cannot change them. We cannot control the universe. We cannot control other people. If we could do that, I would teach you how, and I would have a really amazing YouTube channel. Everyone would be coming here because they want to know, how can we control the universe? But we can't. And so our circumstances are completely neutral. They're out of our control, but our thoughts are completely in our control. This is the one area where we can have so much impact and where we can really take our power back and change our lives. So when we experience a circumstance, we think a thought, and that thought gives meaning to our circumstance, and that thought is what creates our feelings. And so if we want to feel better, we don't need to change our circumstances. We just need to address our thoughts. And there's so many ways that we can do that, and I'm going to go into them in much detail in all of my coming videos. But I just want to give you a quick overview here of how you can change your thought. The first thing that you can do is just become aware of how you're thinking. We all think 60,000 thoughts a day on average, and most of them are completely in our subconscious, so we are not aware of them, and most of them are negative. So our first step in changing the way we think is to just first become aware of the way we're already thinking on our default setting. And I'm going to talk a lot about the default setting on these videos, but basically this is just the way our brain is programmed to think based on our experiences, based on our culture, based on how we were raised, based on the way we see ourselves and God and the universe, all of it. So the way that we think on our default setting, we need to become aware of that first and foremost. The second thing is we need to understand how to process and respond to the emotions that those thoughts are creating, because if we just push those emotions away and resist them, they will just come back. When you resist, it will persist. But if you address it, then you can process through it in a healthy way and get you to the other side. So that's the second thing, is we need to actually address how we are currently feeling based on the thoughts that we're having. And then once we get through all of that, then we can actually look at the thought and decide, does this thought serve me or not? And what that means is it's not in a selfish way, like, does it serve me? It's all about me, me, me. It's in a way of, does it line up with the way that I want to show up in my life? If you want to show up as a generous person, a kind person, a giving person, a loving person, are you thinking in a way that enables enables you to feel the feelings you need to feel in order to be able to show up. And yes, our feelings do motivate and fuel our action. So if they're not in alignment with the way that we're thinking and the way that we want to live, we will get sidetracked and we will get derailed by them. So that's the third thing, is to ask ourselves, is this thought serving me and my purpose and the way I want to show up in my life? And if it's not, then we can start to think about how to change that thought to something powerful that will motivate feelings of excitement and courage and bravery and strength and passion, and then allow us to show up in our lives in that way. So we're going to go into in-depth detail on all of these concepts in coming weeks, but I wanted to give you this brief intro and just remind you that you can feel better. It doesn't mean you're going to feel good all the time, but it does mean that you can learn how to process and respond to those difficult emotions in a way that will actually fuel you forward to the life that you want, to the goals that you have, to seeing those big dreams you have come to fruition. But in order to do all that, you've got to first address your thoughts and how they're affecting your life and separate those thoughts out from the circumstances that aren't in your control. So I hope that's helpful for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it with a friend, and I will see you next week.